on my X, episode 19. We're coming back at you. 19 weeks strong, and we're going to keep it going. Just FYI, though, for everyone watching, today's episode is going to be a bit of a shorter one. We're going to recap kind of all the Halo 5 Pro Series stuff and some of the Halo 3 Master Chief Collection stuff as well. But the reason it's a short episode, number 19, but 20, we got some special coming for you guys because episode 20, we got a pretty special show, and actually might be dropping sooner rather than later. We obviously every week we do a Monday release, but maybe episode 20. Just keep your eyes open. That's all I'm saying. All right, that's all I'm saying. But this
Just
is
gonna
Goofy.
tease the
Obviously,
people.
I'm here with my friends and my co-hosts, starting with the man Wes Price Clutch. No, you've had a busy week, man. How are you doing?
Well,
My Discord died.
We're
oh,
good.
you're back though.
My Discord died. I don't know
No
what
worries.
happened.
No
I
worries.
heard I
Keep
had
going.
it busy, and then all of a sudden you skipped
I was
out.
like,
So
did my
I'm assuming
computer freeze?
assuming you asked me. I had a busy week. How am I feeling?
Yes,
How am I doing?
exactly.
Classic questions of the day. Doing all right. Looking forward to some sleep later on the night. I'm exhausted, but it's because I've been pretty busy with some Halo stuff, right? So working hard on the game, casting the HCS Pro Series Finals. The championship this weekend was a blast, and then Esports Arena today. So good times all around. Lots of casting, lots of Halo 5 action, and too many good matches to remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you on that. We'll get into the Pro Series championships for Halo 5. Obviously, we casted that, and there was a lot of stuff to kind of break down for that tournament. It opened a lot of it opened my eyes for a lot of stuff and a lot of issues with online, tournaments potentially. But obviously, we also have the man. He's been struggling, been sick, but obviously he was able to push through and get on the show today. Thank you, Justin. And how you doing, Hunter JJX?
Yeah, man. For those of you that don't know, I kind of contracted COVID this week, so that's pretty interesting. Can't smell, can't taste. Sometimes can't see, but I'm chilling. Nothing could keep me from doing this show with you guys, though. So stoked to be here. A lot of stuff to cover, like you said, Faisal. I'm really looking forward to getting into it. I mean, we also have Infinite news, so lots of stuff going on for the Halo scene right now. Lots of information popping out from different places, and so I'm excited to get into it with you guys and get you guys' thoughts.
Totally, man. Well, I genuinely hope you start to feel better and recover ASAP.
Absolutely.
I know, I've known some people that have contracted it as well, and it's tough. Obviously you being one of them too, and we've talked about it offline. Like I'm sure it's extremely hard, and I hope you recover ASAP, brother.
Appreciate that, my man. Thanks.
But yeah, you touched on it a little bit before we get into the recaps of the Halo esports situation or Halo esports tournaments. I don't know why I said situation. Halo esports tournaments over the week. We gotta talk about Halo Infinite. Obviously, we got a big part of that. The man working on the game to our right or to my right. So I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if he's just chilling and kind of listening to me and Justin break it down a little bit, but. Halo came out and let the world know that fall 2021 will be the release date for Halo Infinite. And obviously, we've seen the community reactions to it. We've seen people on social media freaking out about it. Justin, quickly, just breaking it down so we can get into the competitive Halo stuff. Let's talk about this release date and kind of what it means for Halo and where everyone's heads should be at. What are you thinking?
Yeah. There's like pros and cons to it, one of the things that makes me happy is that it's not winter. Could have easily been winter 2021, and I would have been like, man, that's a long ways away. Fall is still quite a ways away. As a Halo fan, I want the game to succeed. So at the end of the day, I have to trust that 343 knows better than anyone else what it's going to need for that game to be all that it's going to need to be. But as someone who's been on the content grind for the last almost 2 years full time playing, streaming Halo and stuff, it's definitely kind of scary thinking about streaming or doing like Halo 3 or Halo 5 for another 9 months or so. So I kind of made the joke that at this point Halo Infinite's development length, I'm just measuring it in the amount of kids I've had. I'm at 1 kid now. I'm hoping that by the time Infinite drops, we're not at kids had 2, so we'll kind of see. But Yeah, I think it was a blow. I think that, I'm glad they released some screenshots and stuff, because for me personally, I went ahead and said, like, hey, the game looks a lot better already from what they're showing. I was one of the people, when it first dropped, I was like, man, this gameplay does not look up to snuff. It didn't look polished. It felt like a really, really, really early build of something. And so the screenshots they put out with it looked a lot more gritty, looked a lot more like the Halo style that I expect and want to see. So that has me feeling optimistic about the style choices. So waiting to see some more gameplay. Faisal, what did you kind of think when you saw the news?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, like the past week for me has just been super hectic in so many different ways. So I didn't even really get to break down or like, for example, you kind of analyze the photos and were able to kind of cultivate an opinion that way, comparing them to the old videos, which is awesome. I'm happy you kind of explained that. I didn't even really I saw the photos, I kind of trimmed over them. I saw that it was fall 2021. I was like, okay, like I've always been, maybe because I'm not directly competing right now, obviously I've been commentating. I've been I was streaming very consistently for a long time, like 6 months, and the past like month I've been slacking, and I know that, just like I said, been hectic, and hopefully going into the end of this month and start of the new year will be a lot better. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I am sad that we waited so long. Just as a Halo fan, I'm like, man, I want a new Halo, and we have all of our acquaintances, and more than acquaintances, we have friends, in Halo that have started playing COD, and teammates of mine that have switched over to COD. I mean, like a bunch of people that I'm sure we all know, like Formal and Enable and these guys that have kind of gone over to that over the course of, it's been a while now. But I think about the COD community just because of how rivaled they've been with Halo, at least in my eyes and my experiences with MLG, and kind of Halo and COD always being next to each other and competing against each other. And you see the people in COD and they get those new games every year, and you're just like, damn it. But it's different, right? There's two companies there, and in my opinion, Halo puts, like, when the Halo game comes out, it's a lot more impactful, and it's like you remember that game for so long, whereas COD's like, which one was that? There's like 15 of them now. Like, you're trying to, like, there you can barely remember and really appreciate the game. So I think what goes into a Halo game is a lot more. But in saying that, I'm just at this point just anxious and excited, and hoping that the game is going to be badass, hoping that the game is going to propel Halo esports, and just Halo's brand even more.
My question to you then would be like when you say like because I agree, like a Halo release is always like a big deal. It's all, I feel like Halo kind of always reinvents itself, like with every game. Like you don't really see two of the same game coming out like for Halo as far back as you can go. So like, just to play devil's advocate for you, like my question would be like, do you think that that's like needed? Like, because like Call of Duty, the one thing that we always say, like I hear the Halo community say it all the time to like, stab at Call of Duty is like, oh well, it's like they know exactly what they're getting every year. It's like the same game every year. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, dude, like if I could have got the same game every year after Halo 3 dropped, just kept playing the same game every year with new maps, like I would have probably been down for that. So like, do you think it's necessary that Halo constantly is trying to reinvent itself?
Well, I don't know if it's Halo's constantly trying to reinvent itself. I wouldn't describe it like that. I think there's a happy medium between just pumping out the game for the sake of like a game coming out every year, like an iPhone, like you just get one every year just because that's just how it is. I think there's a healthy medium between that not being the case, but also not having to wait like 4 or 5 years. I think you can kind of find a good place in the middle. And obviously at the end of the day, you got to take a step back and really consider what this year was all about, and with like the COVID-19 pandemic. And
yeah,
it's real. That's the reality of the situation, right? That happened this year, and it just threw a wrench in everything for everyone in multiple industries, like almost every industry in the whole world, right? So from that perspective, like to answer your question, I think there's a happy medium between kind of getting one every year, but also not wanting to wait like so long. But yeah, man, just before we get into the next topic and kind of breaking down the Halo stuff, Halo esports stuff, at the end of the day, my feelings are I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous just because like we've waited this long. So where my feeling of nervousness comes from is like, I just want it to be good at this point because I've waited so long, and just like everyone listening and Halo fans everywhere, we just want the game to succeed. We want the game to be great. I want it to be fun. I want it to have a good ranking system. I want it to have good guns, good weapons, good maps. I want to see more gameplay released. I want to see what we're about to get. Hopefully we get like a beta or something, or and I'm still hopeful. Hopefully we get like a battle royale, man. Halo battle royale would be badass. I'm not the most informed on what information has been out to the public or not yet. If I remember correctly, like a year or so ago, like someone in the Halo world said there wouldn't be a battle royale, and then now I'm hearing rumors that maybe they will. So just for the record, I don't have the actual information that I've researched. I'm kind of just going based off of like the stuff I remember and I kind of think I know. So maybe I shouldn't have said that, because now I lost all credibility. But
one of the things I really I'm looking forward to with the game coming out is like, I'm just excited for the moments where Wes is like, oh yeah, that thing that you love so much right there on that spot, like, oh yeah, that was my idea. Like, I'm excited for those like those moments, you know
how
for
in the
Wes to
games,
claim
when
his
Halo
glory.
games come out, they'll have like books and stuff they could buy where they'll like have map call outs and stuff already or even in the game, like you'll walk by an area, there'll be like a call out for that spot on the map. I wouldn't be surprised if Wes like puts like clutches clutches pit or something, or just find some random
clutches cubby.
It's actually a joke I've probably had since Reach. If you ever team with me in Reach, I would always just make something up, and it would always be called Top Clutch. So
there will definitely be a Top Clutch call out in Infinite.
Actually pretty funny. I remember when it was Halo 5 first came out, and I was playing with like TJ and Matt, and I was coaching them, and we were playing like on Plaza, just like running around shooting, and I'm like right here, and I would always go up to Top Yellow. Not because it was a good idea or because like that was a good strategy at the time. It's because I wanted them to start calling it Top Clutch, and I kept telling them to like call it Top Clutch. Like, what do we call this? I'm like, you call it Top Clutch. They're like, why? I'm like, because I'm always there. And so I tried to force it a little bit in Halo 5. It didn't happen. So basically, I had to get a job with Microsoft in order to get myself a Top Clutch.
I was gonna say, seems like it's all coming to fruition, and we'll find out in a couple months.
I'm playing late game. I'm playing chess. Some people are just playing checkers.
Nice. But yeah. So those are kind of the thoughts, and mainly we wanted to basically just let the world know, let the OnMags viewers know that Halo Infinite has announced its release date, and will be fall of 2021. So get excited, and just I'm looking forward to it, man. So Justin, do you have any more thoughts on that before we move on to the competitive Halo stuff?
My last thoughts is just, I gotta say thank you to just the team who's still working so hard. So Wes, you and you guys, I mean, everyone there at that studio, I can only imagine what you guys have been through, and you guys have been hustling, and I don't want us to ever take that for granted, right? Like, regardless of our frustrations with the game and the timeline, let's never forget the people that are on the ground working their butts off to try to put together a product for us. So thank you guys for that, for sure.
Definitely. All right, so now we are going to transition over into talking about competitive Halo. We had a lot of fun stuff, and I cannot wait to talk specifically about the Halo 5 Pro Series. But before we get there, just because we want to keep it in chronological order, we can start with the Halo 3 Master Chief Pro Collection. And you know what they say, revenge is best served. I don't know. How do I say this?
What happened here?
Me and Justin. So on the last episode, Justin's team, obviously, our team didn't win. We got second. But in the last episode, Justin's team had won the Halo 3 Pro Series, and he came on that episode with his big boy pants on and talking big.
I can't help you here, Justin. I can't help you here. You did this to yourself. This is a classic case of. This is a classic case of too much dessert. Got you a little too full.
Yeah, so then we, before the episode ends, I said, I'm coming for that ass, baby.
I remember.
And this last Friday, we matched up in the same round we always seem to match up, which is that semifinal round right before the finals. And we got a little bit of, it was a good series, but we edged it out and ended up taking Justin's team out.
What was the series?
I can't stop. It was a 3-0.
It was a 3-0.
Yeah.
It was a good series.
Justin's face is just like.
Let me get some scores. Let me get some more details on this.
What was the first game of the series, Justin?
Pit CTF, was it 3-1?
Oh yeah. Y'all get the first cap, and you got like everything off the start, and you got.
We capped in like 30 seconds. Yeah.
They got and they ran the cuts flag. They ran it cuts to S1 and capped it, and I was like, okay. And they came out strong, but we ended up, I think, winning that game. Like, was it 3-1 or 3-2?
3-1 or 3-2, I can't remember, but yeah, you guys
had a couple
closed it
flags
out.
Yeah, you guys had a couple flags close that you weren't able to get, and we ended up winning game 1. Game
If
2,
that's at a tournament, after they kept that first flag, you're hearing them get hyped. They're
dude,
like, let's
especially if
fucking
alumni's on the other team, bro.
Yeah,
Alumni
dude.
standing up and pointing at everyone.
Absolutely, like in the middle of the game, like
Game
you could
2
just
was
picture that environment.
game 2 was
Yeah.
50-48, right? Narrow
Dude, game 2
Slayer.
was super close on, was it Construct?
Narrows. It was Narrow Slayer.
Narrows.
50-48.
Narrows, sorry. Yeah, Construct was the next round. But yeah, we had that really close game 2. And then game 3, we kind of, that was,
Yeah.
we had a dominant game 3 on
You guys,
Once you're down
you
2-0,
guys
it's
have you guys have dominated us in Construct King like pretty much every time we played you guys.
You guys
It's
are good.
definitely like it's one of our weaker game types, and it's you guys are so good at that game type on top of that, so we always get blown out in that.
Yeah,
You guys were a good time game type team.
exactly.
Yeah,
Wes.
exactly.
Even in the next series, in the finals, we beat APG and Lethal's team in the Guardian Ball. I think we're
I
really
watched
good.
that. I watched
Yeah.
that.
Dude, that was literally the biggest choke of all time. But
You guys lost that onslaught game.
dude,
They're up
we were
4-0, dude.
They were up
bro.
4-0 in like the first. I literally went to the fridge, got some ice, put some water in a cup, came back. You guys are up 4-0.
I'm drafting up the text to like
God,
congratulate
bro.
you. I'm dead serious. Like I had it like ready to go. Like congrats, way to
Dude,
come out and dominate. And then you lose that game, and I was just like, just deleted the whole thing. I was like, well,
was
Bro,
shocked.
we're gonna skip over that part. But going into Halo Finals.
no. I want to talk about our series though, because like I said,
yeah.
I did come in last week hot, and I was feeling myself. But this week, you came back and got the job done, did what you needed to do. So I definitely got to come in here and take my loss with humility and say, you guys played really well. And it's always a blast playing against you guys. And
Yeah, it's fun.
the way you guys were playing, I really was thinking you guys were going to steamroll in the finals as well. There's something about Ryan. We were talking about it. We were in the middle of the Construct game. Like, we already know the series is over. And I just hear Mark Alumni on the mic. He's like, man, there's just something about Ryan and what he does for their team. It's just insane. It's so different. But you guys having Ryan back is just night and day. And I know there's so many intangibles with him, but yeah, no, great. Well, really well played by you guys, and it's always a blast. The On My X Chronicles continue, and I'm sure we'll have many more battles in the future. So yeah,
for sure. And yeah, we'll touch on I want to touch on the finals too. Yeah, we matched up against APG, Lethal, Trippy, and APG, Lethal, Trippy.
It was
Gilkey, of course. Gilkey,
Yeah.
Gilk Duds, yeah.
Come on.
And Trippy,
good.
yeah, he's all right now. He's good. Yeah, so it was a good series against them. We won game 1, they won game 2, we won game 3, game 4 on
Game
spot
4.
after the flag, bro.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it shortly, man. It's already 20 minutes in the episode. We gotta end this one pretty quick. Man, look, listen, all right.
Hey, I might not have played the ball, but I sure as hell didn't blow a 4-0 lead.
It's whatever, man. It's just whatever. We're up 4-0, and we blew it. Like they got their first cap they got was like a double cap, and we kind of didn't even like. It was one of those things. Onslaught, it's really easy to fall in your own traps in the sense where like when you're up by that much, you kind of you think you have leeways and you think you have like stuff you can do. You get a little no excuses, but we had lazy plays that costed us because they kept capitalizing on the openings that we gave them. Before we knew it, it was like 3-4, and it's like, oh shit, if they get one more cap, like
yeah,
all tied up.
untied.
Yeah, and then they got one more cap, and it's like we're still not in the right positions, and then they capped the 5th flag, and we lost game 4.
Once you get momentum on Onslaught and things start going, like you start rolling, you start getting the feel for like the angles and everything, like you just start, you can very quickly turn that around. So
yeah.
I wasn't like shocked to see it by any means. I mean, like it's almost a story of like you guys were as dominant as they were at the start. They just got 5 flags like in a row. You guys actually got 4 in a row and were absolutely slaughtering them.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
We were dominating them.
You're
But
in the driver's seat. I love that game type for that though. Like you're never out of it. Like I've been down. Like how many times are you down 2-0, 3-0 on that game type Onslaught, and in your head you're like, dude, all it's gonna take is one cycle and we're back in this game. Like everybody knows that. That game type is awesome and horrifying for that.
Yeah,
100%.
and then we went into game 5, which was Heretic capture the flag.
Heretic Slayer, you mean?
Sorry, Heretic Slayer. My bad. Yeah, it was Heretic Slayer, and yeah, we got steamrolled pretty bad. I feel like on that game type because we just had multiple mistakes. We weren't getting into pink 2 fast enough. They kept beating us into pink 2 and kind of trapping us in our bases, forcing us to stay where like our top base, forcing us to play out of car. And we just weren't ever like aggressive enough to get pink 2 back. Essentially, end up losing the game, losing the series in game 5. So congratulations to the H3 team, the original crew, Trippy, Gilkey, APG, and Lethal, they ended up winning the tournament. And Trippy, we'll get into the H5 Pro Series, but he won, he won the Halo 3 tournament, then he won with Sentinels the day after. So good little couple of days for him, made a little payday. Obviously congrats to everyone that won this weekend. But yeah, I mean, so that was the official, like, as of right now, that was everything. That was the conclusion of the Halo 3 stuff officially. But as far as like Twitter and Tashi's input goes, like, I know he was on Twitter tweeting like there's gonna be more MCC stuff and more Halo 3 stuff potentially. So we'll have to wait, obviously, for an official like Halo or HCS announcement as far as what scheduling or what kind of tournaments we're gonna have for Halo 3 or MCC for that matter. So definitely excited to hear what they have in store for us. And we can kind of go quickly on the table about that too, or maybe more so Justin, because I know Wes again is that situation. But are you excited for more potential MCC stuff, or where's your head at with that?
I mean, it's been awesome playing. And I'm sure you know how it is, like when you're playing with the same guys every single week, it's something to look forward to. Like every Friday we're gonna rally together and play in one of these tournaments, So
my light almost fell. Fell.
I saw your face. I was like,
oh, it's about to fall. No, it didn't fall. We're good. We're good.
So like,
could have fallen in the middle.
Please let that happen.
Your face was just so every
okay, never mind. Go ahead.
No, so like having stuff to look forward to every week with the boys is always is rad. So I'm looking forward to whatever they announce. Tashi mentioned like they might be messing with the format a bit, like might be tinkering with like double elimination, and then also changing the day. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes, because they weren't sure if they were gonna do the Halo 3 and Halo 5 on the same day, and I let them know. I was like, dude, like for my team, like we wouldn't be able to play, like if that's the case, So there's still some stuff at play in terms of like.
What do you mean?
They were talking about potentially doing both the Halo 3 and the Halo 5 on Saturday. And
so since your teammates play Halo 5,
and I was told him, I was like, yeah, he wasn't
Yeah.
sure like how many teams that would affect, and I was like, well, mine for one, like, and I know there's many others where like Trippy, for example, he's been playing an H3 team, but he's also playing in the H5 stuff. So there's like definitely some.
And I wouldn't be surprised if even like the Ryan Noob and the Range of the world would want to give it another shot. If Halo.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So when I messaged him about that, he was like, yeah, we're definitely gonna have to explore like different options, because that's probably not going to be ideal. So. We'll have to wait and see. Ideally, like personally, I don't know. I don't think I have all the answers. It would be cool to see like the Esports Arena stuff on Fridays instead of Sundays, and then have Saturday and Sunday be like your two HCS main events. Because like I know so many people like in the Halo 3 scene that aren't able to play in these Friday tournaments because either they're working or whatever, they just got off work, and it's just like so hard, or they've worked a long week and they just they're not trying to just rush home to play in a tournament immediately after that. So potentially
That's
like moving Halo 3 to potentially moving Halo 3 to Saturday or Sunday could help alleviate some of that stuff to just see it grow, because towards the end of the season we actually saw like an increase in teams, which was interesting. So like the last 3 weeks in a row there's been like more 18, teams 19, every week. So 20. it was like 13, and then last week was 17, and then this week was 21. So like there's been like an actual jump. So it's been cool to see that. So definitely there's life there, and I know Tashi and the rest of the team over there know that as well. And so I respect them for trying to change things up and listen to the community, like with double limb and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see kind of when we get more information. So stay tuned.
Well, speak for yourself. I mean, double limit is always good and always preferred.
I don't care about it, to be honest.
Yeah, with what it is right now, like at this point, we're having Halo 3 tournaments in 2020. Now it's going to be 2021. Like, it doesn't have to be like a long, drawn out tournament, unless maybe if the prize money is more and to make it more fair in that sense. But if it continues, my point of even bringing this up is I liked the way it was ran, like the past, for the last Pro Series, the Halo 3 stuff, because it was like quick and it was every week. And if you couldn't make one, no problem, you get back on the next one. Like, it was something that was always there, was something to look forward to, always something to compete in. That's kind of what you're looking for right now until like the Infinite and everything comes out a little bit more officially. So
I'll give you some pushback on that though, because I agree with you. Like, I like the way it worked out. But for you and I, Faisal, we're like the top 1%. Like, we're competing to win every week, whereas like for some folks, they just want to get into a tournament and get some matches in, and they're one and done. They match up against someone first round and it's over. So like double limb is definitely not for like teams that are contending like us. It's more for the other folks that are just trying to
Yeah, actually,
get
you're
some
totally
matches
right
in.
about that.
So
No, that's
yeah.
true. That's
So
true.
that's my
Point
pushback
well
on that.
taken.
But
Point
I
well
agree.
taken.
I enjoyed this season for sure.
Yeah. But okay, so that's enough talk about Halo 3. Now we got to get it into the Halo 5 Pro Series Championships for Season 2. It was casted this week by Wes and myself, along
Legends.
with, and it was hosted by Lottie, of course, and Dan Gaskin was actually also supposed to be on the show with us, and unfortunately, due to just a whole bunch of technical difficulties on Dan's side, his internet issues, he wasn't able to get on the show, and it was really unfortunate. Dan, if you're watching, we missed you on the show, and I'm really sad that you weren't able to. Those internet issues caused all those problems. So, Wes, I know you've been kind of having to sit out a little bit in some of these conversations, but I want to pass it over to you. I know you said you're not feeling too well either yourself, so I'm gonna pass it over to you though, and so we can quickly break down the Halo 5 championships for the Pro Series and just some of the highlights, some of the things you noticed, and just break it down for the people.
Yeah, so we saw pool play kind of go as we expected. Cloud9 coming out on top of Inconceivable, I guess not
That
exactly
was a little
predicted,
surprising. Yeah.
but yeah, that's an upset for sure. Having Inconceivable had won the last two tournaments, but like you knew one team was going to win that and lose that, but both teams are going to advance
Yeah,
out of
I
pool
got
play.
you.
So it's a matter of who was playing Sentinels early on. It actually ends up being Inconceivable, and they get rolled. Sentinels rolled over Inconceivable 3-0, and it was absolutely pretty incredible, right? Like
It was a slobber
I
knocking.
feel like that was kind of like that's when we knew as an audience, like, oh crap, like Sentinels might win this
yeah.
thing. And
Well,
after we saw how they played against, for me at least,
well,
after I saw them playing against Inconceivable, I was like, these guys are gonna win.
correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they get reverse swept by Cloud9 in pool play?
So Sentinels had
You mean-
KC Pioneers in their pool.
Yeah, and
Like-
that was a slight work of KCP. So it was like KCP did not look good after that series, and I thought Sentinels was like, all right, Sentinels is here to play. They're going to be tough to beat, and I didn't know that was going to be the case, knowing that they didn't practice a ton for this tournament. I was like, I could honestly see Sentinels getting like third, fourth, depending
Again,
on who.
they had just gotten that last tournament.
Yeah, and I was like, it would not shock me at all. But they actually surprised me with how well I guess they were playing in pool play. On the other side, though, Inconceivable, didn't they go up 2-0 on Cloud9 and Cloud9 reversed them? Or was that
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Inconceivable went up 2-0 in pool play against Cloud9. They got reverse swept.
that was wild.
That was wild. And then because of that, they played Sentinels and lost the tournament. Like they literally they screwed themselves up. There was a lot of reverse sweeps in that tournament.
It was a wild day. It's been a wild weekend actually for that kind of stuff going on. But I think you saw Inconceivable, who we all thought probably was the favorite going into this tournament. In the driver's seat, 2-0 in your series in pool play, you're cruising. Like you win one more game and you got to play KCP to get to the finals. All of a sudden, they get reverse swept by Cloud9, and Cloud9 starts looking like they're the real deal. Renegade starts heating up. And Inconceivable is now playing against Sentinels. They don't show up to that series at all. It was like they ran out of, like, ever since they lost that game 3 to Cloud9, they looked like a completely different team for the rest of the tournament.
So they lost, 6 games in a row, basically? They didn't win a game after they lost that?
6 games. That's what I'm saying. Like, they did not regain. And that was
that's
uncharacteristic of them, because we thought that team was for sure someone to be reckoned with. And
even in that Cloud9 series, they look really good in the first 2 games.
Yeah,
like they were up
like themselves,
dominating. Yeah.
I don't know, something wasn't there. Like things were not working out in their favor so many of the times. I remember seeing Boobadooboo in game 5 against Cloud9 had like 5 camos, and every single one of them, it felt like he just got averagely killed. And it's like, when's the last time we saw Boobadooboo get averagely killed with camo? Like he's usually going on killing sprees with those things. So definitely, they fell short. They did not come to play. And sometimes it's like that. I think Inconceivable did a ton of work and built a lot on their individual careers like throughout this time. So
now this doesn't affect the series score though that we talked about, right? Because like the series score that we had, the 5-5, is only for finals. Am I correct on that? Between Inconceivable and Sentinels?
No, I think that's just how many
No,
times
that was
they
just how
played
many
each other.
times they've matched up.
So this
Are you,
does. The
are you
Sentinels,
sure it wasn't finals?
Really? They've
I
played each other in
think
the
it was-
finals 10 times?
I don't think it was finals.
Okay.
No, it was just throughout the tournaments.
I think
Okay.
it's throughout the tournaments. We have to get our stats
Yeah, I want to.
Yeah.
clean
Yeah, we
up.
gotta figure that
I
out.
know it.
Okay.
It's not the finals.
Okay.
Okay.
But that does give Sentinels the lead back in that,
6-5.
and that was unexpected, I guess. Trippy really showing out this weekend, like you said, Faisal.
Yeah. No, and then to continue on, Wes. So yeah, Sentinels played against Inconceivable in the bracket play, knocked them out 3-0. And then on the other side,
We gotta talk about
had
this, man.
this is okay.
Oh.
This was crazy. On the other side, we had Cloud9 versus Casey Pioneers. So just a reminder for everyone watching, if you remember correctly, in season 1 championships, the brackets literally played out the same exact way. So in season 1 championships, the H5 Pro Series, we had on the top half, we had Cloud9 versus KCP, and then we had Sentinels versus Inconceivable, and Sentinels beat Inconceivable, same as last time. And on the top side, Casey Pioneers was in the driver's seat against Cloud9, just like they were the first time around.
Dude.
And then they ended up, they ended up losing the series. Okay, just let me give you the first picture of it. They were up 2-0. They were up 2-0, or was it 2-1?
Games 1 and 2 they win.
They're up
2-1.
2-0.
Sorry, no, they're up 2-1. I think Casey Pioneers was up 2-1, and then
Okay.
they were. We have to double check that. But either way, my point is that they were up against.
Isn't ball game 3? Oh,
No,
I guess in
not
Halo
in
5 it changes.
Yeah,
I mean,
it changes.
okay.
It changes. But basically, the point being was that Casey Pioneers was up big on Cloud9 once again, and ended up they ended up blowing it and losing the series. So the HCS Twitter, everyone's just congratulating Cloud9 moving on to the finals to face Sentinels. That's what everyone was thinking. And then things got interesting, because after that we had to put our detective hats on, start digging in, start seeing who's saying what's going on. We had to figure out the details of what went down in that series, because there was a little bit of a little sketchy situation that went on there. So basically, if you were watching the series, if you're watching the stream, in case you hadn't watched, it's on twitch.tv/Halo. Their broadcast is up there. Go check it out. But yeah, so Renegade of Cloud9, okay, they were losing they were down 2-1. It was 2-1 at this point in the series, and it was Eden Strongholds, okay.
Ball.
It was Eden Ball. Sorry, it was Eden Ball. They were against Casey Pioneers. Casey Pioneers already up 2-1 in the series. Needs to just win one more game. They'll go to the finals. They're up big. They're up big on Renegade.
Points.
Yeah, they're up 80 points against
80,
Renegade and
I think it might have been
Cloud9.
88.
Whatever it was, they're up a lot, like 80 or 88 points against
With
Renegade and the rest of Cloud9, with a very limited amount of time left in the game, looking like they got it in the bag. I'm like, holy crap, these guys really beat these guys, and they're about to go to the finals, right?
Full setup.
Everything looking good.
Set up, everything's looking great. You're probably guaranteed another 15 seconds.
That's what you want. You got it, right? And then
momentum is on your side.
And mind you, throughout the whole day, we were having these annoying ass issues. Not because of the fault of our side of production. It was literally just people getting hit offline, or these nerds in the world
Something was going on,
tampering with people's internets and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we were having issues all day. But to get back to the point, when Casey Pioneers was up so much in that game 4, we see boom in the bottom left screen. You see Renegade quit, or Renegade left the game. That's what it said.
Player left, I think.
Player left. It said player left the game, and they end it. And everyone thinks that Renegade lagged out. I think he was even streaming, so not everyone thought he lagged out. Some people knew he didn't lag out, right? So basically, what had happened was, Renegade had actually quit the game, and this guy was streaming, dude. He was streaming, and he quit. Like, he literally pressed start, quit the game. He goes, "Oh, I'm lagging," and I heard,
Did you see the clips though of what his screen was looking like?
Yeah,
it was literally like every time he went into a fight, it was like picture slideshows. Like it was just like
weird.
It was bad. It was really bad. But I've heard, I was talking with some pro players afterwards, and I've heard them. It's happened with them too in series, and they didn't quit out. It
happened to Snakebite earlier in the tournament.
Yeah, it happened to Snakebite early in the tournament, and he didn't quit out, right? So basically, it's the rules. Like, and I get it, because it's annoying. Like, it's literally unfair to have a disadvantage in that situation. But and your team's already, if you lose the game, you lose the tournament. I guarantee if that was an elimination game, he wouldn't have just quit like that, you know? So the fact that it was an elimination game and he quit and then came back and ended up
I
winning,
guarantee you, if his team was up by 80 points and that was happening on his screen, he wouldn't have quit.
Boom. That's a money point right there too. So it was, and this is information we didn't know at the time that he quit. So we thought he lagged out. He came back into the game. The refs give KC Pioneers the 80 points, so they only have to get like 70 whatever to win. But then Cloud9 goes on a huge run in the replay and wins the game, and then actually wins the game 5. So we were thinking they're going to the finals, but then again, just to rewind again for the third time, we come to find out after we put our detective hats on that Renegade had quit the game, and because of that, Cloud9 got disqualified from the tournament and were kicked and did not make it to the grand finals, which made KC Pioneers actually get their first entrance into the grand finals. And boy, these guys did come out to play because and you should have seen, I'm not going to say what was going on in the Discord chat.
Let's finish out that whole shenanigans first, though, before we go to the finals, because I do have a couple things that I want to like bring up, and a little like, I agree with everything you guys are saying, but I do have like a little bit of pushback from my perspective, because I was
not going to end up being a short episode. We're already 36 minutes.
It's not. Sorry. So
this is not going to be a valid point either. I'm just letting you know. There's no excuse for quitting out of the game.
No, there's not. I'm not justifying that. I'm not saying that's okay at all.
Okay. Well, then never mind. Continue.
From what I heard, because like obviously I'm in with the Lovejoys. You know, I'm part of that clan. So I was talking to Hoax, the coach of Cloud9, pretty much right after, to kind of figure out what was going on. But from my understanding, and I could be completely wrong on this, but from my understanding, there was kind of a gentleman's agreement made between the two teams outside of the HCS ruling in order to do that replay and keep things going. It just kind of seems like, hey, because KCP ended up losing, then all of a sudden it went to like official levels of like, let's investigate. So I'm hoping that's kind of cleared up for me, because I don't have all the details. I'm interested to know, because it would be kind of lame, right? If like you GA with another team, you're like, yeah, no problem. Like we'll do the replay. We just have to have the lead. And then when you go on to lose a series, now all of a sudden you throw that out the window and you're like, hey, come help us.
The only pushback I have on that is, before I put in too many eggs in that basket, so you're saying Hoax told you that directly? Because if we're even putting that out in the world, I want to make sure that's an actual factual statement.
Yeah, that it was a GA that they were going to replay. Yeah.
That case, yeah, that's.
See,
I mean,
so,
but the
you want me
rules
to
go ahead, Wes.
This is an easy answer.
Go ahead, bro.
That's players GA what? The fact that the series is going to continue, that's great. But when league officials and the staff members, the organizers of the tournament find out that you quit out willingly of a game that you said you lagged out of, like, players aren't GA, like the players aren't running this tournament.
Yeah, there's a broadcast
there's a literal
no,
rule set.
I agree.
Says if you quit, you forfeit the game.
Yeah, you can't make a gentleman's agreement.
I agree.
Yeah,
my question is like, I agree 1,000%. Like, the rules are the rules. My question is, did HCS did they step in because because KCP then said, hey, like, look at this, after they had already.
No.
Okay.
It's not even KCP. Yeah,
the whole chat was saying, hey, we're in Renegades. He was quitting. Like everyone was saying
I wasn't
that.
Sure what made it kind of go into
on Twitter of like random people that were watching Renegades stream. Like it's not KCP got this done. It's like, no, the rules are the rules, and the league did abide by their rules once they had the information that they had.
That's why I asked. That's why I didn't want to presume that. That's why I wanted to ask and see kind of how that information came out.
There was like a Discord chat with everyone in it, and it seemed like KCP wasn't even like, they by no means from what I was reading were they trying to be like, oh yeah, like let's do it. If anything, they were just like, what's going on? Like they weren't even.
It's
just from what I see, it wasn't them being extra about it. They got off the game. They turned their Xboxes off. They were done. They literally had to bring them back into the call and like say, hey, y'all are gonna advance. So I'm pretty sure the information was brought to the officials by a bunch of factors. They're told
that they're still in the tournament. They're not like asking, hey, are we still in the tournament?
They were told you got to come back kind of thing.
It's like, no, you're in the finals, you have to play kind of thing, right? Like it's not a, do you want to advance to the finals? Like it's not up to them. Like the rules were broken, and therefore the penalties were served. And unfortunately, like Cloud9 kind of didn't get the control their own destiny due to Renegade like breaking the cardinal rule in competitive video games. You just like grab an admin, grab a ref, whatever, stand still. So we can go to theater and see what time you were standing still or whatnot, but you do not quit out of the game. Like that's never
Yeah.
been a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. And it was a strange way to see KC Pioneers make it to the finals, but they did make it to the finals, and I want to give a congrats to them because those guys were playing really well. But they need to just build that ice gene or whatever you want to call it, the clutch gene, because those guys always just get to the finish line and fall short. But this time around they made it to the grand finals against Sentinels. And they were up 2-0. Can you believe it? They were up 2-0
No
in
way,
the finals.
KCP up 2-0 on a team.
Yeah, they were up 2-0 in the finals, and then even in game 3, okay, it was
Dude, game 3 they had a
type?
lead.
It was rig flag.
No. Game 3 was
No, not rig flag. It was
echelon ball.
Echelon ball, game 3.
no, it was
because they were down 2-0 and Trippy got this triple kill, and I told some story about it. I remember it.
oh, it was echelon ball, and then game
Because
Yeah.
4
Trippy
was what was game 4?
Um,
It was a flag. They were
Ollie?
up 2.
maybe no truth.
Truth. It was truth flag.
Wait,
What am I thinking
No.
of?
Cloud9
Game 5 was
game
Truth
Cloud9.
Slayer.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking about
Yeah.
Cloud9 series. Okay, someone else, Justin, you go. Someone break down the rest of it because I'm misremembering.
I mean,
guess.
I'm just anyone that knows me knows that I'm a huge KCP fan. I mean, they put in a lot of work, and they're a great team, and I've loved to kind of watch their rise. It's cool to see kids so young have 5 years with the game and really excel at it. So, they find themselves in the finals, and they go up 2-0 on Sentinels, and I'm sitting there in a Discord call with, Hoax, Alumni, Frosty. We're all sitting there, Frosty the Truth, and we're just like, are these boys doing it? Like, is this it? This is the moment. It's game 3, and they're up early, I think, in the echelon ball, if I remember correctly, and they end up.
Yes, now I remember.
They end up losing that, and I remember saying, I'm like, dude, there's no one I would want to be up 2-0 in the world less than a team like Sentinels. Period. Like being up 2-0 on a team like that would scare me more than anything else in the world because you take your foot off the gas an inch. You give them anything, and they're going to run with it. They're going to go run wild with it. And that's what we saw. We saw them start to wake up. Go ahead, Faisal.
I would say being up 2-0 and losing game 3 is scary against Sentinel. I mean, you would always want to be up 2-0 against Sentinel or against any team for that matter. But being up 2-0 against them and then losing game and then losing game 3, you're like, God damn it. Like
I don't know, man. You can't be thinking like that. Like, get a grip.
No, I feel you, but like I'm talking from their perspective, like knowing their history and like
if
seeing
that crosses your mind, then you have already lost the series.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Get a grip, focus up.
Yeah, so they go up 2-0. They go up 2-0. They lose the game 3 echelon ball. Game 4 capture the flag. They lose as well, and then game 5 they ended up losing. So long story short, KC Pioneers were up 2-0 against Sentinels in the finals, but the juggernauts that are Sentinels ended up coming back and reverse sweeping in the grand finals and ended up securing first place. So they're back-to-back championship final or championships like winners because obviously they had rough, weekly tournament outcomes. Like they would get top 3, they would get 3rd, 4th, maybe they would get 2nd. They weren't really winning any of them, but then whenever all the chips are on the table and it's the championships, they end up winning. The same thing happened in season 1. They won the championships, and then season 2 they end up winning the championship. So congratulations
can
to
you
those guys.
teach ice, Faisal? Like, is it possible to teach ice? Because someone's got to get over to KCP ASAP and start teaching them some ice, man. Because as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I don't want it to seem like I'm ragging on them, but as far as I'm concerned, they lost that semifinals to Cloud9 because if you were the better team, like you're going to close that team out. You're going to bounce back. Even if you feel like you should have won that game, you still got game 5. Like bounce back, win that trash, So it's
well, they were
that
beating
game 4
them.
was over. Dude, that game 4 was
That's
over.
fine.
And if an outside factor like ruins your flow and it messes you up and you lose the series, like I get it if they had lost it, like if they had actually lost it without him quitting, but if you were up to you were doing what you were supposed to do, and then someone on the other team does something they weren't supposed to do to mess up your flow, like that alone puts like a bubble over or a cloud over. I do get what you're saying though, like bro, just even if you replay, you're up by 80, like just win the game.
Game 5, they were up like by 7 or 8 at some point on Cloud9. They lost that game too.
Some of the best in the world,
so
right? Like Cloud9's a team that can beat anybody in 3 straight games. Okay, but when you're up in that ball game, you have all the control in the world. Everyone is clicking. Everyone is making plays. There's no way they lose that game. and for that momentum, like momentum is real. So to make a statement like just handle your business in the next game, you got 80 points. It's like it's just a different atmosphere. Momentum has an
One,
opportunity to
yeah,
reset.
atmosphere being one thing, and also the fact that you literally it's a complete. So even when you're up by 78 or whatever to start the replay, if your opening start isn't good, the other team gets like all
Exactly.
the and then they get like 40
And
second drive to rip, and
there's
like
But
more
it's not
time
like,
on the clock.
but it's not like this is a one-time thing for them, right? It's something we've seen out of them before, which is why I
yeah,
say
no,
like,
no, but that's why I am putting some weight onto what you're
yeah,
saying too, because I'm just saying for that specific instance, I wouldn't use that example because it was like I don't want to get it twisted and say like they were handed that, because they were up 2-1 and
Yeah.
they were winning that game and Renegade quit, so and that's why they got to advance. So I want to give them all the props they needed to get to the finals. That's a good job. But after saying that, I do agree that they have a history of blowing leads and a history of not
Doesn't
closing
look
the
good.
door. Yeah, and
yeah,
it doesn't look good. So, but they're in good company right now. They're beating some of the best. Even if they choke, they're up and they're right there, and then they choke. So they just gotta. It does come with experience. To Wes's point, they're still
Yeah.
very new
They're
to
young.
like being in the spotlight like that. They're very new to like playing against the snake bites and roll twos in the finals and stuff like that's all new to them. Relatively speaking, like it's over the course of the past few months. So it'll come with
but they're
experience.
very clearly a top 4 team, right? Like they've established themselves very clearly in that spot. They deserve to be there, and they've worked for that. So now it's like,
well, they're a top 4 team in the H5 Pro Series
yeah,
realm, right?
yeah,
They're still really
yeah,
good players that I would expect to be placing better than them when they're all playing again, like the
Absolutely.
Envy,
Ryan Noobs of
the
the
Ryan
world and
Noobs, the
whatnot.
Reigns, like these guys
But
are
they're
gonna,
there. Like
yeah, they're there. So
they've
yeah.
gone the distance in so many
yeah,
series. They've created upsets
yeah.
consistently, right?
Mhm.
Like it's time to include them into that conversation.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
So yeah, that's and then obviously we had the Esports Arena tournament that Wes was casting today on Sunday. But before we move on to that, I want to go around the table really quickly. We'll make everyone make one short and sweet or like something you remember you took away from the past 2 seasons of the Halo 5 Pro Series. I'll start. For me, it's Sentinels always showing up when the stage is the biggest and the lights are the brightest. I was saying this on the broadcast as well. Yeah, though it's strange and it's funny because our last episode, the title was Sentinel struggling, and then they win the champs like a few days after. So that's what I took away, is that whenever Sentinels really has to perform, they always do. And even though they were struggling in those week to week tournaments, they would get like third, fourth, or if they would make the finals, they would get swept, which you don't see. And they were kind of all over the place. But as soon as they got a zone in, they always do, and they ended up winning. So congrats to those guys, and that's my takeaway. Wes, I'm gonna go to you. What was your takeaway for the past couple past couple seasons?
Yeah, I like that point a lot about Sentinels. That's one that sticks out. I'd say something else that really sticks out is just to the point we were just talking about, is the welcoming of these KCP guys to kind of that upper echelon of teams that really have an opportunity to compete and potentially win tournaments. It's been a very short list of players, I feel like, for the past maybe like 5 years, that I would say this is a player that could win. This is not a player that could win. This is a team that could win. This is not a team that could win. And that list always felt so short because those upper tier teams were able to separate themselves through the meta, individual skill, whatever it might be. So KCP, they have convinced me that they know how to play Halo at a very high level. They have high individual skill. These guys are making plays, winning one-on-ones against some of the best in the world. We got to give them their individual skill props and not just refer to them as a highly efficient objective team or they're in the meta team or whatnot. No, these guys can point and shoot as well. So the addition of those 4 guys really just adding onto the list and the excitement that gives me for just more opportunity for upsets, crazy events happening, reverse sweeps, stuff like that at tournaments that they've helped already with.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah, I like
yeah.
that point as well.
Yeah, I agree with you, Wes. I really really want to see KCP continue on the track that they've been on when Infinite drops. We haven't seen. I don't think any of those players have ever had to go through the transition of like a Halo game to another, and we know that can be really challenging. But I think this team has what it takes if they apply themselves to that. I think they'll be great. My takeaway from the last 2 seasons is, man, the rise of Saiyan, dude. This guy, I mean, he was already incredible. We know that. We've seen him in finals before, but he really established himself in my opinion as a top 3, if not potentially the best player in the game over the last season specifically. He's
Can't say that.
Incredible
Can't
talent.
say he's the best player in the game after. I
Well,
was
yeah.
saying that on the
No, dude,
I was saying that
stop.
on the
I'm not saying-
broadcast too.
Yeah, I said potentially. You know, I'm not gonna
Okay,
say here and say, I'm not gonna sit here
It's
and say he's
not.
for sure the best, but we've seen weeks out of him where it's like, man, you can't touch this guy, and we've seen him pull out some crazy
Okay, I
wins
get
with
what
that
you're
team,
saying.
and so
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
for me, it's been really cool to see him kind of come into his own. We see it with the confidence, the swagger, you know, when we had him on the show and all that.
Definitely.
So
No,
yeah,
and
that was my takeaway.
Yeah, that's a good one too. And we interviewed him on the broadcast before the tournament started, and he great guy, such a humble person, but very focused, very hardworking, and definitely earned his way onto obviously one of the best teams in the world, and now he's one of the best players in the world as well. And it was funny because on the broadcast, I was saying like, I don't know, I feel like he is the best in the game right now. Like I wasn't even saying it like I feel like, I was like, he is the best in the game right now. He plays the most, and he's been winning. And and Frosty actually, so Frosty, these guys are always listening to everything. They hear everything. They're in the chat, even if you don't think they are. They're here. They're there. They're listening.
Absolutely.
And
if something gets said, these guys hear about it.
Yeah. So then obviously Sentinels played Inconceivable in bracket play, knocked him out with the 3-0. Frosty was playing great, and Frosty was the MVP of that series. And then
dominated.
I go and check my Twitter. While I'm on the broadcast, you could see me smiling as I'm looking down on my phone because I get a tweet from Mikrin, right? Yeah, Mikra. He's like,
it was the best. This is the best GIF I've seen in a long time.
He posted that picture of MJ during the Last Dance documentary where he's like, and I took that personally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then it became personal for me.
The tweet was, "This is Frosty after Goofy said that Saiyans better than him or something." He posted that. I'm taking it personally. So I'm on the broadcast and I'm seeing that. I'm laughing at it. And then after the series is over, I had to take my hat off to Frosty and say, "Hey, I was wrong. You are still the best player in the game." Frosty, to your point, Justin, I think Saiyan is in the conversation, but especially after what we saw out of Frosty, he's definitely the best Halo 5 player. But yeah, so that's a good little to put a bow on the season 2 Halo 5 Pro Series. I'm happy we were able to kind of conclude everything, get our thoughts out, and I'm sure there's a lot more we can dissect. But we're gonna have to hopefully we'll figure out what our episodes are gonna look like for you guys moving forward. Obviously, like I told you at the beginning of the episode, even though I was completely wrong in saying it was gonna be a short episode because it's gonna end up being probably an freaking hour long or maybe more, but what I said at the beginning of the episode was that we have a pretty fun and new and exciting kind of episode coming up for you guys for episode number 20 of On My X, and more details will come. So make sure you're following our Twitter. Make sure you're following us all. When I say our Twitter, I mean the On My X Twitter, and also obviously all of us individually as well, so you can keep up with that. But like I said, we're gonna end up. I think we're gonna actually drop an episode early this time around, and I don't want to get too much into it, but so we'll have more content coming your way. But now that where nothing officially has been announced for any future tournaments, we just gotta hope we get some information soon so we can keep having discussion. And regardless, that's the whole thing about this show, is that we could talk about anything, right? Halo is such a rich past, and we can always just keep some content fresh. And I'm sure it's gonna take some brainstorming on our side to make sure we're keeping the content interesting and fun, but we're going to make sure to focus on that for you guys. But before we close this one out, we can quickly recap. Wes, I'll throw it to you. For the Esports Arena, we had a Latin America team was the winner, man. So go ahead and break that down real quick.
Big for the LATAM team, man. PK, actually formerly known as Just Ladam, It's Drift, Atso, Pelu, and Tapping Buttons.
The nasty squad.
Those guys, they were getting top 8 at the end of Halo 5. They competed throughout that time. They started getting better and better. They started getting closer and closer to upsetting some really good American teams, right? Their individual skills there. We've seen what Tapping Buttons can do, teaming with Roy and Lunch and whatnot. So they've come so far, and they've been playing in these Esports Arena tournaments every single weekend these guys are in, and they've never won. I think they've made a couple of the finals. But it was always like that gap between the top tier teams and them is there that are competing. So like the Frosty Trippy, Booba Doobu, and Suppressed. were the other team in the finals, but typically like some combination of Frosty, Boobadooboo, and Trippy and a fourth or whatnot have always beaten these guys and have always given these guys just such a hard time and reaching that very end goal of winning one of these weekend tournaments. So big shout out to them for kind of overcoming that hurdle. It was not easy. They went through winners bracket, actually knocked that team into losers bracket, went through all of winners, made it to the finals, and then they got the bracket reset on them in the first
Ooh.
best of 3. They go down 1-0. You have to think they
Dang.
haven't won a Slayer in like 4 straight series. They went to game 3 because they couldn't win game 2. They win the Slayer in the second best of 3, and then game 3, Empire Strongholds. They just absolutely popped off.
Good
Won
for
pretty
them.
significantly.
Yeah, congratulations to those guys.
And they beat some very, very talented players. I mean, we know how good Trippy and Frosty
Man, Trippy
are.
fumbled the three
Yeah,
The
the
three-peat, perfect weekend.
trifecta, man.
He's the only one that's
Right
been
there.
that close, right,
Oh,
to having that
man.
happen yet. This is probably the closest it's
Yeah.
been for someone. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah,
But yeah.
Trippy fumbled over it. Not individually, of course.
Nah, yeah.
But it was great to see those guys play, like, just clutch up for once, right?
For sure. I'm happy
And
for them.
a huge win for the LATAM scene. I think that's probably the biggest victory that they've won in a very,
You beat
very, very
Frosty
long
in the
time
finals in
ever.
Halo 5.
Yeah, you beat
Yeah.
Frosty, Boobadooboo, and Trippy. Like, they're starting to click. It's great to see them come up. There's actually another LATAM team, Fire and Ice, that continuously gets top 6 in those events, and they're right behind. Fire and Ice has actually beat PK before, so it's like there's a
Got some
couple of teams
competition. We
that are
got some good
starting to
teams out
heat
there.
up.
Yeah.
It's good to see
Yeah,
that, right? It's
I
good
like
to see
that.
the other regions starting to improve, starting to show face. Consistency is key. Let that be known for anyone that's out there, because these guys have been nothing but consistent, nothing but put in hard work, and eventually it's always going to pay off.
There you go. Well, yeah, everyone. Wes, I'm gonna pass it to you one more time to kind of get us out of here. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited, man. We got some good stuff in store for you guys moving forward. Obviously, we're gonna keep the interviews coming. We're gonna keep bringing people on the shows, and we're gonna keep this thing going.
Like we said at the start of the show, we're going to have an earlier episode 20 come out. We got something special for you guys. Don't want to give you too much on it, but be later on this week. Let's be on the lookout for it. Episode 19 is in the books. Justin, give them the socials and whatnot. Actually, you know what? We'll put them in the bottom of the description. Just look
Good
them
call.
up there if you want to follow us and you're not already following us. Let's get out of here. It's late. Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks, guys. Peace.
Have a good night. Peace.